Very curious because it gets to me personally as a dad, right? So when do kids become such bitches? Like they're super soft nowadays compared to I feel like we grew up. And like don't get me wrong, there's things that I did as a kid that I wouldn't want my kids to do. Like I used to ride my bike all over the city.
Yeah.
There's no fucking way I'm letting my kids do that now, right? Like. And is it because the internet is at our fingertips and we can see the weirdness? Because I feel like the weirdness has always been there. Like the weirdos have always.
It's more than that. I mean, it's health. It goes back to even football.
But that's what made me think about it.
Our generation is, hey, we can't let them play until they're 7, and even at that, you can't head,
No like I remember getting the wind knocked out, and my mom's like,
but
get
it
up,
starts
pussy.
with simple
you know what I mean?
things like that. It starts with things like that. It starts with censoring things. It starts with, first of all, that's your kids that you're talking about, so don't you ever ask me that question.
Yeah. No, but yeah, same question.
Yeah.
Like, what is your thoughts? Are your kids?
Yeah.
Do they seem like a softer generation?
Yeah, absolutely.
Than what
it's the
we
pillow
were?
generation.
Yeah,
but what are their challenges?
These fools don't have challenges, bro.
Yeah, you think it's good? So then, is that like a
I
nod?
come from a more masculine, generation, which obviously I hear that's wrong. So we're trying to correct something, and if it works, I guess we'll find out.
So that's what I'm thinking.
We'll find out.
That's what I'm thinking. Are we changing from more of a masculine society where it was all chest beating and like my to where these kids now are sharing? So like as like a non-parent, like you look at what parents have always wanted to do over the course of generations is to make things easier on their kids so that they don't have. My mom always used to say, I just wanted to make it so easy on you so that you didn't have to struggle the way that I struggled. So is it at some point that we could say, damn, we kind of did a good job and pat ourselves on the back and like let these kids actually be soft because maybe that's what they deserve? Is it life easier from the life the rest of us have lived this whole time? Like, have we paved a way for like an easier generation of people?
I definitely see that.
I think in the bigger scope, it's because we haven't paved a bigger, or easier way for a generation now. We brought our world to a fucked up place. Every discrimination is derived from our past, right? And not even just discrimination, but even our housing market. Hello, our planet, our house, our planet Earth that we live in. We have fucked her over.
For sure.
I mean, everything we've done up to this point,
so
there has to be changes.
Let me throw this at you guys real quick. Think about this. I guess this is another reason that we think about it, because I never ever had to deal with this as a kid, like not even with friends or I don't recall any of this happening as a kid. But okay, so my daughter Morgan, you guys know Morgan, she did some shit at school, wrote some bullshit on a piece of paper, and like the teacher saw it and instantly called us and was like talking about suicide shit. And I'm like, wait, what?
See, we got that too.
And I'm like, what do you mean? Like she was just mad at something, and she just was writing shit out, making little devil faces, whatever. And I talked to her about it, and she was like, I was just mad, Dad. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. I'm like, okay. But now they're always worried about these kids hurting themselves or taking their lives with bullying and this and that and the third. Like, we had bullies growing up. Like, it wasn't nothing new. We had shit. You either got bullied, or you beat that bully's ass, or like stood up to him.
Right.
That's what happened all your life, right?
If your kid touches mine and mine son tells your kid not to, and yours still does, my kid can rock your shit. Sorry, my kid can rock your kid's shit. He has my permission. But again, it's at least they have to.
They won't though. That's the weird part. Is like these kids are so like timid. It's weird. And that's what I mean. Like, it's the pillow generation that we've raised and cultivated now, where everybody thinks they're gonna hurt themselves and end up on some kind of medication. Like,
we got that too.
I don't remember any of that shit as a kid.
But you ask any parent, this is throughout history, how did you do it? I didn't plan it. I just went with it, because you can't plan it. Every day's different. You as a parent, you're always going through different shit. Right. You'll never treat your kids the way you always need to, because of your own problems. But they got their own shit going on too. And then their friends got their shit going on. You know?
I hope I don't fuck them up too much, mainly. You know what I mean? Like,
that's a good thing to hope for, but like, what are you talking about?
Because I feel like every parent fucks their kid up some way, somehow, something. There's something that each parent has done to their child to. You're scarred somehow, somewhere.
Yeah,
right?
There's some kind of something.
There's some kind of emotional damage.
What have you done to your children?
Right? Like, what exactly?
But that's what I'm like. I don't want that, because I know I harbor some kind of like some deep-seated anger from my mom somewhere. You know what I mean?
They're like, Dad, we're not gonna bury another body with you again.
You know what I mean? Like, it takes nothing for me to like get mad and then like bring up shit from like '97. Like, yo, there was that one time I wanted to.
Yeah, like you are actually like scarred. Like I just want to talk about it. I want to tell you how I feel because I didn't get a chance to do that.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm now in my mid-30s and I'm like, you know what? Remember that one time I wanted to go see Bad Boys and you wouldn't let me? You know what I mean? Like, it was bullshit, but like, I'm just saying, like, I don't. That's just like minute, obviously, but I do feel like there is some.
That's what led me to try and ecstasy later on.
I don't know.
It's your fault.
Yeah.
Your fault I did ecstasy and loved it.
For sure.
No. Right.
Like, I knew I wanted to rap first grade, something like that, but I didn't get into rapping. You know, I got into breakdancing. You know, even to this day, one of my best or longest standing friends, his name is Steven Garcia. I know we're not saying names or whatnot, but he was one of my b-boy guys. He was in 5th grade, put me in talent show 3rd grade. When I was in 3rd grade, put me in talent show with him, and that was kind of my doorstep to hip-hop. But before that, I had a little karaoke box, you know, with the tape deck player, and you recorded it. You could record over yourself when you talk. I had that forever. I just ain't never, exposed it to anybody. But eventually you start rapping and stuff. You start by rapping other people's lyrics at school and stuff. And then you get into that. And, I made my first full-length album when I was 13, and then kind of just been going since then. And where I'm at right now, fast forward, 20 years later, in the hip hop game, my influences are kind of just like, where am I going with life at this point?
Life is your influence.
I'm not really led on by any other, anybody else's work right now, other than, am I going to do this HVAC career? Am I going to go take hip hop on? Am I going to do both? How am I going to keep it all together with the kids? Do I want to go on a tour and leave the kids ever? I mean, that's stuff I don't, say to you guys. That's very real stuff.
Real shit. And
that'll deter my energy even for the night. When I'm at home, like, I'm gonna write a song, but then I'm like...
But for me, though, I've always been, like, it started out, I was a thespian first, like, doing stage work, acting. So that's where that, I guess, entertainment came from, you know what I mean? Just doing stage work, acting, doing plays, improv, all that shit.
Let's be honest, it was acting that really got you.
Right?
Yeah. Let's be honest.
That works. So that fast forward to like I'd say 7th, 8th grade, I got into poetry.
Nice.
Started writing poets, like reading more about poets. You know what I mean? Frost and.
Did you guys read it out loud too?
Yeah, we'd have to like
write yours.
We'd have to do
beginning of the class.
Right, we have to remember about haikus and all that shit. We had to do, and that was probably the most raw form, like nerve-wracking. Yeah, and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Because there were some that were really good, some like mine was like I felt like it was dog shit. And then
that's normal. And then, that's a normal part of the process.
Right. And then like fast forward to high school, I'm in the hotbox session with the fellas, freestyling, to Mobb Deep beats and shit, and like getting clowned in the cypher. I never stopped. I was always in the cypher, always. When it was my turn, I jumped in, but I got clowned so hard every time. But I loved it.
A couple of those L's.
Oh, I loved. I took. Oh my god! Like pretty much all through high school, I took nothing but L's. G. Like it was. I didn't get good at freestyling, like get like attain it or get a grasp of it until after high school. So I was like 19, and then I was actually going to parties and like getting into circles with cats that were legit and like just trying to come at them or like whatever the case, So I wait for that shit to go, and then like I'm in there, and then I'm just rapping my ass off, like anything I could do, anywhere I could touch a mic, I was in there. Met P Docs and them, like I got a job randomly. I got a job at this warehouse. Met P. And then started doing shit, and we came up with that first album. That's when I met you outside that venue. And a cipher, we was just ciphering, and and it's been. I didn't start taking it seriously until I lost everything. Like it's always been a thing for me, but until I had nothing, that became my everything.
Yeah.
And it's still persistent and still something that I cherish.
The next thing happens, and all of a sudden you and I are rapping outside of Cervantes. And then the next thing happens, and we're living together, and we're
fast forward years later, we're roommates.
5 years later, we're roommates now. Like, and that's just the way. You dedicated our dinner to the universe. That's the way the universe works.
Comes right back around.
Yeah. in middle school where I got really good at mimicking other artists, raps, and so on and so forth. I took up creative writing because that was something that, again, just led me into the path.
Yep.
And once creative writing started taking off for me, I started to put two and two together where I would take my cadences that I would learn from rapping with other people's cadences and would turn it into me actually doing, my own songs with my creative writing.
Right.
I really love entertaining, being the center of attention. That's something. I have tapes of myself when I was like 2, and my mom was recording me singing "Easy Like Sunday Morning" on her old fucking tape player.
You're known for that. Like I've literally walked over here, since when I used to work across the street, and I could hear you singing outside.
Yeah.
Like 3 blocks away with 1,000 people between us.
That's
my man.
All right, gentlemen. I think that's good.
This
This is
our time,
a successful little first part of Thought for Food. One more time on the cheers, my G's, Ceejay Franchize, Adrian NME. I'm Luke Scott. This has been Thought for Food. Thank you very much for tuning in. Stay tuned for the leftovers. Peace.
Hip hop, hip hop.